Myanmar's opposition leader Aung San Suu Kyi has hit the campaign trail with what would appear to be unstoppable conviction. I'm Deborah. You're watching Asia Today. I'm joined now by Patrick Barta, Southeast Asia Bureau Chief. Okay, Patrick, we know that Myanmar's military government is opening up to a certain extent, but really, how far can Aung San Suu Kyi go?
Well, I mean, that's the question everybody's asking. Aung San Suu Kyi has a lot more leverage right now than really any time in decades, and it's extraordinary to watch. But that doesn't mean that she can just do whatever she wants. The government in Myanmar is very concerned about the way they look. They feel they're close to getting sanctions from the United States and Europe lifted. They don't want to do anything that looks like a crackdown. But on the other hand, I'm not sure they feel like they can have her moving all over the country, getting tens of thousands of people out into the streets, creating or seeding some kind of giant groundswell, a democracy movement that somehow destabilizes the country. So they're really walking a very narrow line here between trying to look like they're open to having her on the road, while also being sure that they maintain order.
Well, she did embark on a political tour back in 2003, which ended in disaster when pro-government forces attacked her party, members of her party. What's the risk of something like this happening again?
I don't think anybody is expecting violence or a severe crackdown on her. I mean, that was a different time. It was a different government. The fascinating thing about her travels and what we saw yesterday is that her staff is saying she's actually not on a campaign. They're saying the government has not announced the official beginning of the political campaign season, so therefore, by definition, she's not campaigning. And yet in the appearances she made yesterday, she was openly saying, vote for my political party. She was laying out elements of her political platform. So, the people in the crowd obviously would have thought that is campaigning. So already there's a bit of a disconnect between the two sides. But I don't think that that's going to lead to violence. I think it just puts the government into a very difficult position. They're going to have to figure out some kind of more palatable way to deal with it, something that's palatable to the Western governments.
Okay, so if the election is conducted fairly, what are Aung San Suu Kyi's chances of winning a seat?
You never know in an election, but I think it's widely assumed that she'll win. She's running in a district just south of the main commercial capital of Yangon. She's been very popular in the appearances she's made there. She's drawing huge crowds outside of that area across the country. So I think it's likely, I think it's almost certain that she'll win. The real question is what happens once she wins. This election is just for 48 seats in parliament, seats that have been vacated for various reasons over the last year. And this is in a parliament that has more than 600 seats. So if she and her allies sweep all of those seats, or get most of them, the 48 that is, that doesn't really change the balance of power in Myanmar in any appreciable way. I think the question then will become, say she's in parliament, will the government then give her some kind of cabinet position? Will they then sort of promote her in some way, put her into the more direct line of decision making, or will they try to marginalize her and her allies as a minority in parliament? And I think we don't know the answer to that. The government has suggested they might be willing to give her a more visible role, could be symbolic, could be a truly powerful role. We don't know.
Thanks very much to Patrick Barta, Southeast Asia Bureau Chief. I'm Deborah. You're watching Asia Today.